Star Wars Jedi Survivor is the sequel to the first Respawn Entertainment game from 2019, Jedi Fallen Order. The story takes place about 5 years after the previous game, with Jedi Knight Cal Kestis battling the Empire in the aftermath of Order 66. The entire crew of the Mantis has split up, but Cal's battle against the Empire eventually brings him back into contact with Grease, Marin, and Cere Junda. On top of that, Cal discovers a droid from an entirely different era of the Star Wars timeline, the High Republic, telling him of the Jedi who discovered a new planet called Tanalorr in the far reaches of space. While Cal tries to reach Tanalorr before the Empire, a new threat from the High Republic awakens, the fallen Jedi Dagan Gera. There's definitely a ton more that happens throughout the game's nearly 30-hour main story, but things are definitely a step up in scope and in action within Jedi Survivor. But will Star Wars fans connect with everything going on and experience a fun adventure with Cal Kestis once again?
Okay. This is us. This must be the outpost. I guess we finally get to see Grease's cantina. Okay. Come on.
Most of what you see in Star Wars Jedi Survivor is very similar to its predecessor, but with some very significant changes that enhance what was good in that game. Combat and movement is the same, but Cal has a lot more moves and abilities that build upon what he gained in Jedi Fallen Order. On top of that, Cal is a lot more brutal in combat this time around with his new lightsaber forms, allowing him to use different styles of lightsaber combat and force powers. Cal can use dual-wielding lightsabers, a double-bladed lightsaber, a crossguard lightsaber, and even a blaster and lightsaber combo. Each style has its own pros and cons when fighting, which are upgradable with skill points. I kept switching between the different forms at various times, even though I still have my favorites throughout my experience.
Pathetic. Tanalorr is mine, and I will strike down anyone who stands in my way.
But while Cal has a lot of new tools to use this time around, some aspects of the combat will still end up frustrating many people.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
Because the gameplay in here is very similar to Jedi Fallen Order, the game also suffers from the same type of problems. The difficulty spikes are back again in full force. Regardless of what setting you go with, Jedi Survivor will test your patience often with a number of very difficult battles, including a few surprise ones that are very hard to overcome. You'll have to learn different patterns and time your strikes very carefully, otherwise you'll get beaten down over and over again. Many of the difficult fights also suffer from the same control and timing issues that Jedi Fallen Order had, where some of your inputs will feel delayed or dropped at the worst of times. You'll think that you'll be able to dodge an attack, only to get hit for massive damage because you hit a button way too many times and are unable to dodge. This is something that happens constantly, but can be avoided if you're careful with your button inputs. However, that doesn't make the majority of the fights any less frustrating.
I don't believe that. And you're sounding like a separatist.
The biggest change in Jedi Survivor is how much you can explore the areas that you visit. Unlike in Jedi Fallen Order, you could fully explore multiple planets this time around. There's a ton of secrets and new locations to visit within planets like Kobo and Jedha, with so many things going on in them. You could look into the distance and see enemies patrolling the area, as well as other various events going on that really make these planets appear to be thriving. Even the deserts of Jedha feel alive with how much you could find in there. However, you'll spend a lot of time exploring Kobo and visiting the town and the cantina, where you can interact with many characters and open up new side quests on the planet. You'll definitely get rewarded a ton for taking time to explore your surroundings, but to me, it's much smarter to wait until you finish the main story to fully explore the planets that you visit. A lot of the new abilities that Cal gains are required to get to certain areas and get used in combination with one another. So if you wait until completing the main quest to start exploring some of the planets you go to, you'll be able to move around a whole lot easier.
You been watching me?
Like old times. Surprised to see me.
I thought they'd send someone a bit more, unfamiliar.
I would not be so quick to judge, Cal Kestis. Much has changed since we last saw each other.
I can see that.
Come.
So, my worthy apprentice, trust your instincts and think about it. Can I recommend that you play Star Wars Jedi Survivor on any platform? I would say yes. I feel like this game is very good with what it does, but it's definitely not the best Star Wars game ever made. The frustrating parts of the combat and aspects of the controls during gameplay can dampen the experience for some people, especially if you can't handle the difficulty spikes. But if you're able to push through and stick with it, you'll find a really interesting story and a great time in this part of a galaxy far, far away. The Force is definitely strong with this one.
Cal Kestis. Welcome to Jeddah. I knew the storm wouldn't deter you.